Hello everyone, I'm Emily.
And I'm Hannah.
And we are the hosts of the I Don't Think So podcast, where we decide if we think a conspiracy theory is believable or if we really don't think so.
Here at the I Don't Think So podcast, we are affiliated with Flurry Sports, and we present our theories on your favorite place to listen to podcasts every Wednesday. If you like what you hear, give us a like and share our episodes, and definitely follow us on our Twitter at I Don't Think So _EH.
Exactly. Go ahead and like some of Hannah's tweets. She's been doing a really good job staying up to date and keeping us relevant on Twitter.
Trying to get those follows.
So yeah, please go ahead and follow us on Twitter if you haven't already. But Hannah and I have been in a little bit of a kick recently of doing more pop culture related conspiracy theories. So last week, Hannah talked about how the Simpsons predict the future, which obviously they do.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 weeks ago, Jake and I discussed Vanderpump Rules, which took me a long time until Hannah told me what I did to remember it. So,
but it's because I wasn't there.
Exactly the reason. So this week, I am thinking about my favorite season, which I do love summer because I feel like it's such a nostalgic point of life where you're not in school and you get to like have a break and whatever. Now that like I'm in the working world and you're in the working world, summer's not as exciting.
No.
But I've always loved like the feeling of Halloween and fall and just that like kind of spooky, but like curl up under a blanket kind of vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
So this week I wanted to stay with our pop culture theme and talk to you a little bit about the movie Coraline.
Yeah, and we kind of already discussed some of this, but what's really exciting is I actually have read the book Coraline to my third graders the last 2 years prior to Halloween because it's kind of like spooky and whatever, and then they can go home and watch it because they can't watch it at school because it's not rated G.
No, it's terrifying. It's such a scary movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so do you want to discuss a little bit about the book?
Sure.
The plot of the book.
Yeah, and like you said, I think it's like pretty much the same, but pretty much it talks about a young girl. I always assumed she was around like 10-ish years old, like fourth grade kind of ish. Yeah. And she's an only child. And her mom and dad end up with her moving into this new house. And both of her parents like work a lot. They aren't able to give her a lot of attention. So she spends a lot of her time like going out and exploring. So they have these neighbors, like there's this man that has this like weird mouse circus thing. Mm-hmm. And then there's these two old ladies that like love to gossip and talk about like weird things. And she just thinks they're kind of crazy. And pretty much as she's exploring the house, she ends up finding this like small door that has this like glowing tunnel that leads her into this alternative reality, kind of still based on her life, where she has like an other mother and the other father. And as she's exploring this world, she's realizing that she's getting a lot more attention from them. So she likes to keep going back. And there's like her neighbors in this alternative reality that are doing this. And her one neighbor who had the mouse circus has like a very successful like mouse like entertainment thing. And there's this cat that's pretty much trying to warn her, saying like, this isn't as good as you think it is, until she ends up finding these like children who, and so basically the whole point is that all these people have buttons instead of actual eyes, because the eyes like allow you to see past some of this like mischievous like things. And she finds these 3 children who had given up their lives to this other mother and then were never able to like return back to their actual reality. So she ends up like leaving and all's well at the end. She doesn't get buttons sewn into her eyes.
Yeah. So yeah, I have never read the book. I've only ever watched the movie. And to be fair, it's been a long time since I watched the movie because it horrifies me and it's scary. I remember watching it when I was a kid thinking, oh, this is a nice kids movie. And then it was just so dark and creepy. And I think it was Coraline came out in 2009, and it's a stop motion animated film.
It looks like almost like claymation,
And, like,
is it?
I think so, but it's just because it's stop motion. I didn't look up for this clay, but
Doesn't it kind of have that look though, or
yeah,
something?
that like it just to me like the way everything moves is very creepy,
yeah,
and I'm sure that was intentional.
yeah, for
So
sure.
I haven't watched it in a long time, but from what I remember, the book and the movie are very similar in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
So Coraline, that came out in 2009, starred Dakota Fanning.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know that.
Isn't that fun? Yep, based on the book by Neil Gaiman. Came out in 2002 with the exact same name, also called Coraline. And lots of reviewers will say that it was a little bit too scary for some, but when taking into consideration some theories based on the original material, it becomes even more frightening. And the ending of the film had people really asking, like, did Coraline actually ever make it out of the other world?
Ooh.
Or was she trapped in there forever? So, like we talked about the kind of the plot points. So Coraline,
She's gonna start yelling at you.
Coraline and her family move into, it's called the Pink Palace.
Ooh.
Ain't that fun? It's a rundown house. I'm a little sad because Pink Palace sounds so fun, but it's a rundown house that was kind of boarded off, and then it got converted into an apartment building.
Yeah, because it says, is it just the 3 apartments in it or whatever? Okay, that makes sense.
And like you said, like Coraline's parents are busy working, so they don't always give her the attention that she feels like she wants or needs. And she's pretty upset that she feels like they didn't give her the life she wants or asked for. So she's exploring, and she finds a small door that leads to kind of a magical place where everything seems to be better. And for a while there, she's a little bit too blind to see that it's all a little too good to be true. So Coraline's other mother turns out to not be as loving as she thought, and she wants to trap Coraline into the other world forever. How the movie kind of ends, spoiler, is Coraline kind of tricks other mother into playing a game with her, and then outsmarts her and just like barely escapes the whole world.
Sure.
That's kind of the movie plot a little bit there. But to understand the theory of her not making it out, it's important to know what the other mother actually is. She's referred to as Beldam, which is a very old, like, malicious woman, a witch, you know.
I heard it's even like almost like a demonic figure or whatever, right?
So the other mother is a shape-shifting demon whose goal is to lure children into the other world and entice them to stay so that she can feed on their souls.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. It goes into it in the book like that, and I'm like reading this.
8-year-old.
I definitely censor some of it, so that's fine.
Good. It's horrifying. She lures them in by making voodoo dolls that look.
That's not in the book.
Yeah, it's in the movie. It's gross. That look a lot like the children who she wants to capture, so she can spy on them and find out like what they like.
Oh, sure.
So when they come to the other world, she can make it perfect for them. She presents herself originally like Coraline's mother, just with button eyes. It doesn't take long for her to reveal herself as a giant spider. And she's got like a crack in her face. Yeah. And they make it look like it's like a porcelain doll face, which is super, super creepy. So in this theory, like, did Coraline make it out? No, is the theory, that she never made it out. In fact, she never left at all. So in the book,
it's like dreams or whatever.
Yeah. In the book, when Coraline meets the ghost children, they tell her that once they saw the Beldam, they never saw their true mothers again. So isn't it odd that Coraline has to use the portal door to enter the other world, but she never goes back through it to leave? I
thought she does.
Not in the movie.
Interesting. Oh.
So this is all because it's like she falls asleep and then she's just back in her
bed or whatever
regular world. Yeah.
Or is she? Dun dun dun.
So it's kind of supposed to be all a little bit of a game of like chase.
Sure.
So every time Coraline goes to sleep in the other world, she's just going deeper into that dimension. She's not coming out. very Inception, you know?
Ooh, yeah.
So when she awakens in the real world, it's just an illusion that other mother or the beldam created. The only way out is through the door, and there's only one key. But at the end of the movie, Coraline has thrown her one way out down a well, and because of that, she will never be able to leave.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. So when Coraline is trying to escape the other world, she notices the tunnel feels longer each time she uses it,
Mm-hmm.
and steeper, as if she's climbing upwards. And that's because the other world is actually a very large and very ancient beast. So, since Coraline keeps falling asleep in the other world and using the portal, she is actually just going deeper into the kind of belly of the beast.
Yeah.
In the book, Coraline says that the tunnel sounds like it's breathing
Yeah.
when she reaches out her hand, and it feels like she's been put in someone's mouth. So, this other world is actually like a creature.
Yeah. Creepy.
Uh-huh. Isn't that, it's getting worse. I'm telling you. This theory like made me double down on hating this movie. So, kind of some theories on what the beast could be. It could be a large mother rat,
Ooh.
which would use her rat children to help kind of feed her.
Not the mouse
Not
circus.
the mouse circus. Ugh. So there's a line in the book where Coraline touches the walls of the portal tunnel where she feels like it's fur,
Mm-hmm.
almost fur-like. She also says that when, like, whatever it is far older than other mother, it's deep, slow, and aware of her presence.
Yeah, I remember that too. Like,
Uh-huh.
it's like she always feels like she's being watched and like felt, and almost like it could like read her mind almost. Yeah.
Like the other, like this place could do that, which is
Yeah.
creepy. And then on Coraline's last escape attempt, she feels something kind of scuttle by her feet in the dark, trying to trip her. And so that maybe could be one of those little mouse children.
Ugh.
So,
Not a mouse person.
No, I've tried, and I just can't get behind them.
No.
So there's a quote in the book that goes, quote, "We are small, but we are many. We are many, but we are small. We were here before you rose. We will be here when you fall."
That's like when the mouse circus is performing though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All a mouse. It's all a rat.
Gross. Ratatouille.
So in the movie, the cat Coraline befriends also says that the other mother hates
Cats because they eat the mice.
Is it because the other mother is scared of the rat beast she's living in and doesn't want it, like, mad because the cat runs around and eats all her babies?
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Who knows? The next part of this theory suggests that the other mother used to be human, and when she got trapped in the other world, she only had her like sewing room to hide in.
Yeah.
When she realized she was getting old and dying, she used items in her sewing room to keep her kind of looking young.
Like the buttons?
The button eyes. But the other mother also needs to be fed.
Mm-hmm.
And a child's soul can keep her sustained for years.
Gross.
So going back to remember she had that crack in her face, the other mother hasn't had a child to feed on in a while, and her porcelain face is chipping away. What's more, the rat beast is also feeding on the other mother's life force, and she is stuck in this world just like Coraline is. So Coraline, didn't make it out of this rat beast world. But she was able to get away from other mother. Without Coraline, the beldam died, and this next part is kind of, or even gets a little more scary.
No good.
So with other mother or the beldam gone, the rat beast will need to feed on something else. So this theory kind of concludes with the idea that Coraline will now become the next beldam, and she will have to lure in children to feed on. So Coraline becoming the next witch was suddenly hinted at by her father, calling her his twitchy, witchy girl.
Ew.
At the very end. So that is the whole kind of kit and caboodle and theory, which it's probably going to be hard to talk about since you really haven't seen the movie in a long time. And to be quite frank, neither have I. But it just comes back. A lot of those weird moments are like clicking back in that I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Ick. I don't like it.
It definitely is interesting. I just like, and then maybe this is like how I'm remembering the book. I feel like at the end though, she's like living with her actual parents, but maybe it was just all like a vision.
Right. Like, or maybe, yeah,
So who knows?
really. How deep did she fall? Well, I always thought it was weird because, yeah, in the movie, and maybe not in the book, but I'm pretty sure in the movie she would just like go fall asleep in the other world and then would just wake up back in the real world.
I know that she definitely tries to like crawl out. Like in the
At some
book.
point. Okay. Like all the time when she gets out?
I think so.
Oh, that's fine.
But also this is like banking on my memory, which is never a good like
Don't bank on that.
Don't bet on me. I'm pretty sure she always like comes back though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think, you know what the creepiest thing to me is through all of this is like that it's called the Bell Dam and it's like actually a demon
In real life.
Like,
yeah, that's
I think
creepy.
that's such a creepy plot point.
Especially for it's supposed to be like a children's
It's supposed
book.
to be like a children's book and movie.
Yeah.
That to me is always what like really grosses me out.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know. I just couldn't wrap my head around why someone would make this a children's.
I feel like how it's presented though in the story, it's not that scary. So unless you like know the backstory of something, it's not
too
as
bad.
No.
She just eats children.
Right. Well, and
fine.
even like if you think about some like of the like we read a lot of oh my gosh, I'm blanking out.
Hatchet.
No.
Creepy
Why
book, too.
why is my like brain completely like forgetting?
Are you talking about like what Cinderella?
Goosebumps.
Oh,
Like we read a lot of Goosebumps books, and some of those are like more terrifying than
Coraline.
Yeah. And it's like these are definitely marketed for children. And it's talking about these like I remember this one we read where it's like this ghost camp. Or no, there's this one. Oh my gosh. Side tangent, but it's terrifying. So I have to tell you. It's like this one where they move, like this new kid moves to the school and they ended up like going to the school dance. And as they go to the school dance, they're like looking for they're getting ready for a school dance. And at the dance, they end up having to like remake a sign because something gets broken because the bully ruined the poster or whatever. So they needed to go to the art room to get like more paint or something. And as they went in, they enter this like new like parallel universe where everything is like without color. And they're trying to find their way around. And if you leave, they're like, you can't leave the building because if you leave the building, it's like cannibal children. Like eating each other.
What?
And they're running away and attacking each other because they still had color left. Like as you go, like they still had some color, but it slowly fades to gray. And they want to like kill the people of like that still have color in their bodies. And they're trying to escape back to the like real school. It's like terrifying.
That's awful.
Yeah. And I'm like, this is marketed for children.
This is not a children's book.
Also, do you remember the movie Monster House?
Yes.
That movie terrified me.
Yes.
And that was like the house was alive, possessed by like
his dead wife.
Yeah.
Who like tragically died.
Didn't she get like she fell and then they covered her with cement or something?
Yeah.
And then he was like, get away from my house or whatever because he loved her. But then she's haunting it and then the house would turn like into, oh my God, it was scary.
It like turned into like a living thing and it like hated children.
And it would eat kids, yeah.
Because she hated kids.
Kids made fun of her.
Yeah, she was like heavy.
Yeah. Terrifying.
All of these we need to revisit and talk about. Maybe we don't market these horrifying things to children. But what do I know? I don't know. I don't know if I believe Coraline.
I feel like she went back.
I think she went back. I really do. And maybe it's because I hope she went back.
Yeah, because that's terrifying. I'd hope she wasn't like contributing to this like demon.
Yeah. Becomes the next demon in succession.
Yeah, because I feel like at the end they like lock up the door.
Yeah. I think they boarded up or something.
Yeah. we're gonna say that she comes back because
She
it makes,
comes back.
it makes me feel better.
It makes me feel a little bit less like icky and gross and scared.
Mhm.
So that's my vote, but honestly, it's kind of a weird movie anyways. So if you want to go down the rabbit hole of like she stayed there and is now going to be the next like Beldam, have fun.
Yeah, let us know what you think.
Absolutely. All right. So I this week decided I was going to bring 2 stories like Hannah brought for us last week. And mine kind of both go towards a theme of an absolutely not for me. But Hannah, first time hearing them, so I'm so excited for you. Both of these come from Am I the Asshole on Reddit. So my first one, am I the asshole for leaving my sister's wedding early because she kept my husband out of pictures?
Okay.
So, my 31 male sister Anne, 34 female, got married on Saturday. My husband of 7 years, Mark, 32 male, was there with me and up until one point was an amazing event. After the ceremony, Anne wanted a picture with all of our siblings, there's 5 kids, and their respective partners, so they started lining up. When Anne saw that my husband was standing next to me, she shook her head and said something about him ruining the aesthetic. Apparently, her plan was to put one man and then one woman next to each other, like alternatively.
Okay.
My younger sister, 18 female, who doesn't have a partner and was standing on the very side, offered to stand between the two of us so we could be as close to Anna's wish and would still be like in the picture.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great solution, but Anne disagreed and told Mark to get out of the picture. He's quite introverted and tries to avoid confrontation under all circumstances, so he simply complied and told me not to get angry, but it was obvious that he was hurt and disappointed for being left out. Obviously, it didn't stop me from getting angry, and I walked away with him. I can understand that Anne wants her wedding pictures to look exactly how she imagined them, but I think that the idea my younger sister proposed was very reasonable. I congratulated Anne and her husband one last time, but then said my goodbyes. When I was asked why we were leaving early, especially before the pictures were taken, I said that I didn't feel like our presence there was wanted. We left before dinner was served, and I took Mark out to his favorite restaurant to cheer him up a little bit. Sorry. Anne has texted me since saying that I was being overdramatic and making a fuss over nothing. Our parents have tried to remain neutral, but except for my youngest sister, the rest of my family supports Anne and thinks that leaving early was going too far and that I should have just sucked it up instead of ruining her big day.
My turn?
Your turn.
She's not the asshole. The bride was being the asshole.
It's a gay couple. That's why she had a problem with them being.
Okay, sorry.
Man. But yeah, two
the
bride.
Sorry, I thought you said Anne.
Anne is the bride and his sister, but him and his husband were the ones that like left.
Okay, but I'm saying Anne is the asshole.
Yeah.
The bride is the asshole. Excuse me. There's no reason, like, unless there is some like bad blood between them that they wouldn't want them in the picture, that like, and it's not being expressed, that should have been a conversation that you had prior to your wedding, first of all. Second of all, I just have like an issue. Like, I understand wanting like perfect wedding photos. I got married a year ago.
Yeah.
I love all my photos. It was great, but I understand like you're paying thousands of dollars to get good pictures. But why would you then bring in a photographer and then not have your entire family like photographed, first of all?
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, the aesthetic of going like
guy girl
is just a little ridiculous, I think. Right. And if you did want that, they gave a really good alternative of how to do that.
Yeah.
The sister did. And like the younger sister or whatever. And then on top of that, like, this is an absolutely not for me. I hate at a wedding when you can just tell like they are doing all of these like things to try to like put on a show.
Oh yeah.
Like, we recently went to a wedding and you could tell that the bride and groom were not having a good time because they were, instead of like dancing and like, or like, even if you didn't want to dance, instead of like hanging out with the people they wanted to hang out with and like relaxing and enjoying their day, they were running around trying to get these like photo ops to look like they're having a great time, but instead they just looked miserable. Like they'd smile for the picture and then be miserable and then like run away to try to set up this like next photograph or this next photograph or whatever. And it's just like, it annoys me because it's so fake. And then you're going to turn around and post these on Instagram or Facebook or whatever and be like, look at how amazing our wedding was, when really the whole time you were running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to make this the most like aesthetically pleasing picture instead of actually enjoying it. And like same thing with this, like you're trying to make it the most appealing picture you can without actually including the people that are important to you or should be important to you.
You would think, but freaking, to me it just screams of like kind of homophobia. Like you're over here, like this specific story, like you're over here being like, nope, this picture needs to be guy girl and guy girl, guy girl, and then you get offered a solution where it can still be guy girl,
and you're refusing,
and you're refusing, and you're kicking out the one partner who is not in like a heteronormative relationship.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, I'm like, they didn't discuss it in the post, and honestly, it doesn't matter. I also, what drives me nuts, and I think this happens a lot in like wedding photos or like big events, public events, things like that. And I've heard it in other stories where it's like, I don't know, but was he like not included in photos because he was overweight?
Yeah.
Or like when you say like you don't fit my aesthetic.
There had to be, well, and that's to me like there was another reason besides she wanted it guy girl, in my opinion. Like, because that was a solution. So for whatever reason, the bride had a problem with that person being in the photo. I don't know why.
Right.
But either way, it's like not appropriate.
No.
And the thing is if you want it, you could, like that's the luxury of having a photographer there that's not doing a certain number of shots. They're doing an amount of time. So take that picture, and then if you don't want to use it for whatever, at least you got the picture in, and then move on to a different photo.
Right. Or just like, hey, if you've got a problem with one of your siblings' partners, just do siblings, no partners.
Right. Or do both.
Or do both.
Take one of that and take one of a different one. And again, if you don't want to post that one, I still think if it's because of something like that, you're being a bitch. But at least you're not like completely excluding people to the point of like them wanting to leave. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because there's plenty of like, you get thousands of photos back. You're not going to post every single photo. And they probably honestly wouldn't notice if you didn't include any family photos in your post or whatever. But at least then if your partner or your brother wants it with his partner, then great. And if you don't want to post it, whatever. But at least it's done. And then you didn't have to like be a bitch about it.
You didn't have to make anybody uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And again, would it have taken, it sounds like they were already lined up for the pphoto.
It's going to take 5 seconds.
2 seconds to take the photo and then say, okay, I want it to look this way.
Yeah.
Can we just have siblings?
Yep.
Like that would have taken another 5 minutes.
It would have been done and everyone would have been fine.
And there would have been no drama. And so what drove me nuts though too then was like, all of the other siblings were like, you're just being over dramatic.
Yeah.
Why would you leave? That's so over dramatic. You're making it a bigger deal than it needs to be. And it's like, I'm not going to stay somewhere where I feel like I'm being disrespected.
No.
And my partner's being disrespected. Why would I stay there?
Especially when there's a simple solution.
Exactly.
It's like they were going out of their way to make it an issue.
Yeah. Oh, so that was my first story. And here's my second story for you. Again, coming off the Am I the Asshole subreddit. So am I the asshole for, quote, kidnapping my baby, which caused my husband to have a panic attack?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I, 29 female, recently started working again after having my daughter, who is now 4 months old. Daycare is too expensive, so my husband, 35 male, reluctantly agreed to stay home. It's important to know that he's been unemployed since 2021. He receives benefits. It's also important to know that he is extremely lazy. He doesn't cook, clean, or help out in any way. I was nervous about leaving her home with her father, but I had no choice. When I came back from work, she was clean and sleeping. The next few times I came home, he was either playing with her, feeding her, or out for a walk with her. I was super happy. A few days ago, my neighbor told me that as soon as I leave, the baby cries, and she cries for hours. My neighbor said that she knocked on the door and he finally answered it. Turns out he was sleeping. I concluded that he sleeps all day, and right before I come home, he pretends to care for her. I decided to take the day off work. I left home at my regular time, waited 30 minutes, and then went home. Sure enough, he was knocked out asleep with his stupid noise-canceling headphones on. I went to my daughter's room, scooped her up, and took her out to my friend's house. I waited about 2 hours, and I finally called him to tell him I was coming home early. He called back saying that he couldn't find the baby, and he told me he was going to call the police, but before he did, I told him what I did. He called me an asshole and a lot of other words too. When I got home, his mother was there, quote, calming his nerves because he had a panic attack. She also called me an asshole. My husband decided to sleep at her house. Family members are telling me that I'm a terrible person, and I know it was extreme, but I don't know what I did that would consider me an asshole. So, am I the asshole? And I've got a little bit of an update, but I'll let you answer that first.
Okay. Here's the deal.
So is she an asshole?
Here's where I'm at, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I personally feel like you should have woke that fucking man up and being like, I'm taking the baby and I'm leaving you. Like, you should have told him where you were going and that you were taking the kid, in my opinion. Maybe some people will think it's fine that she left without telling him to prove a point or whatever, but I kind of feel like I am very much the kind of person that, like, if you are not communicating, like, you are partially to blame.
Sure.
So, like, you taking the kid without telling him that you are contributing to the problem.
Yeah.
Okay? Do I think you're as much fault as him? Absolutely not. Is he an asshole? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think you're an asshole? No, I think you were, like, really upset and being petty.
Yeah.
So, like, that's where I think that's coming from. But I also don't think of, like, I don't think, like, not communicating is the solution, in my opinion. Okay, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like,
she should have woke him up and been like, yeah, fuck you.
yes.
I'm taking our kid. I'm signing the divorce papers.
Yeah.
You are never watching her again.
Correct. Like, I think that her reaction of, like, being upset is appropriate.
Oh, yeah.
And it's unfair of me because I've never been in that situation. I don't have a kid to say she's, like, overreacting.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like, I just hate the whole, like, trying to prove a point thing of, like, I let you sit there for 2 hours and have a panic attack because you didn't know where the kid was and serves you right. Like, no, wake him up and tell him that he's being an asshole and take your kid and leave. You can still have the same solution without, like, here's where I'm at. Don't give them any reason to let you take any of the blame. Like, fully communicate what you want, and then it's all on them, babe. That's kind of where I'm at.
Right. Do I think she's an asshole? No. Do I not totally understand? Because the thing is I bet you when she called him and said, hey, I'm coming home, he woke up to go find the baby.
Yeah.
Like, I bet you he was sleeping that whole 2 hours that she had the baby.
Yeah.
So it was that last 15 minutes that he was like, fuck, I can't find the baby. I'm calling the cops. And she said, I have the baby.
Yeah.
You're an ass. Like, just immediately call him, say, I came home to you sleeping with your headphones on and neglecting our child. I have our child.
Yeah.
Get your shit and get out.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
But I don't think she's the asshole, and I think her husband's a fucking piece of shit. And I think his mom sucks.
Oh, yeah. And here's my thing, too. Like, look at who you're with prior to having a kid. Because if your kid's only 4 months old, and you're saying your husband's been unemployed since 2021, the signs were there, babe, prior to you having a kid. Like, it's 2023. We're halfway through 2023. Like, you had plenty of time to realize, like, this was not the man's for you.
No. She does. And I agree with that for sure. I also don't want to completely blame her for being a piece of shit.
I'm not blaming her for being a piece of shit. I think just, like, the proof is in the friggin' pudding.
Don't
like, just be a little more self-aware.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's, like, we can all be blind by love, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. I get it. But I also am very much on the side of, like, this isn't about you anymore. This is about your child.
Oh, yeah.
So you need to make a responsible decision for your child or your future child. And, like,
Don't be
Again,
with someone who's like that.
yeah. Like, what was he doing the 10 months you were pregnant and he's sitting at home doing nothing? Or when you're on maternity leave for 4 months and he's sitting home doing nothing. Like, that is not happening to me.
So sad that she said, like, I was really nervous to leave my child with my husband.
Like, that
you should
is
not
an
be
issue.
worried about leaving your child alone with the person you are married to and created this child.
Because it helps create the child. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
I understand that it's not her fault that he is a bad person. Completely. I am not blaming her for that.
right.
However, I do think that, like, if you are going to be a parent and you had this much time to realize that you wanted to be a parent, you need to take steps to prepare yourself to, like, take care of your child.
Yep.
Fair?
Yep. Fair. Absolutely. So I'll give you a little bit of an update.
Oh, good.
It's not a huge update, but whatever. First they apologize because English isn't their native language, so
so it was like
about the grammar.
Okay,
and I
that's
was
fine.
like, you did fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. But so an update. Sorry, I created this account just to post my story, and I'm not a big Reddit user. I missed so many wonderful messages from people. The last few days have been crazy. Once I finally told everyone what happened, many took my side. My ex-husband and mother-in-law still think I'm the jerk.
Ex-husband.
Mm-hmm. My friend allowed my daughter and I to move in with her, which is nice.
That's nice, yeah.
We were living in a bad area before, so this is a fresh start for us. My ex-husband has not asked to see my daughter for the past week. Online, he's saying how I ruined his youth by trapping him with a baby. He's fucking 35.
Oh, God. Okay.
She's like, I don't care anymore. I'm in a nice routine with my daughter. I took her to the hospital and they found multiple signs of neglect.
Oh.
I explained the situation and the doctor advised me to press charges against my ex-husband, and I think I will, but I'm safe and my daughter is safe.
Well, good for her. It sounds like she's making steps to protect herself and her child, and congratulations.
Yeah, sounds like that guy's a real piece of shit. Also, so stupid. You baby trapped me after we were married and I'm 35.
Yeah.
I'm not saying 35 is old, but
you're not stealing your youth.
You're not a youth anymore. No one considered you youth for a few years, okay? Like,
no. For sure.
What the fuck? So all of that culminates to my absolutely not is, I know families can be tricky, but you need to fully fucking back somebody. And I think in both of these cases, you are backing the wrong horse.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, why are you like, oh, for the parents in the first one then are like, I'm just staying neutral.
No,
you don't get to stay neutral on stuff like this. I hate when it's like, oh, I'll just not pick a side. Not picking a side is still picking a side.
Yeah, not picking a side is just agreeing with whoever was in the wrong.
Right. Like, I don't want to create waves. I don't want to create conflict. I'm not picking a side. And it's like, no, because when you don't pick a side, you inherently pick a side.
Yeah, you're just agreeing with whatever happened.
Like, it happened. I'm not saying it was right, but it happened, and we should all just get over it.
No.
So that's my absolutely not. I think both of those are like, when there's people in the middle, and the second story was less so, but it was like the mom was backing the son still, and when he was clearly a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's like not an okay side to pick.
No, I agree. I also just hate the people that are so wishy-washy. Just make a decision.
Just if you
and own
make
it.
one, just own you. Even if it's not always the best decision, and there's like consequences that'll come with it.
I at least appreciate you making
it,
and I would at least appreciate them like making a decision.
Oh yeah, and I'm not saying like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that would matter, but whatever. It doesn't matter that way. Like, this drives me nuts. If like you and I went out and I got strawberry ice cream and you got chocolate ice cream and you're like, fuck, I want your strawberry ice cream, and you like were mad at me if I like didn't give it to you, that's when I get mad because it's like, no, you made your decision.
Yes,
I made my decision. Too bad, so sad. Eat your fucking chocolate.
I just laugh. I laugh because
that's me.
No, my husband and I had just gotten ice cream today, and he got strawberry, and I got chocolate, and I took a little bit of his.
I don't mind. Like when you're like, can I have a lick, and I can have a lick of yours, and all is fine. It's just like,
Hannah, you're the asshole.
You were the asshole. I read this one story that was like, a guy didn't, and in my opinion, was not the asshole, but his girlfriend at the time would order the same shit every time they went to a restaurant, and she would always hate it and take his.
Oh no.
Like, she'd be like, I'm gonna have a salad, and he would get a burger, and as soon as it came out, she'd take his plate.
No.
And he one time was like lost it on her and was like, fuck off. Like,
No.
I ordered this because this is what I wanted to eat. You knew that you wanted a burger.
So then order a burger.
Then order a fucking burger. And she was like, you're being an asshole.
No.
You shouldn't treat me this way. And I'm like, you made your decision. Stand in it.
Yeah. No, that's annoying.
Ooh. So those were my two absolutely not stories.
Hopefully you feel as heated as we do. Is your blood pressure raised?
Absolutely.
Waking you up.
I can feel the tips of my ears getting hot.
I don't know if I've ever felt that.
I've been mad before. That's one of the times. Oh, goodness. Oh, well, it's fine.
Interesting. Anyway,
Nah.
well, that kind of wraps up our show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Definitely come back next week where I will present a new theory. I don't know on what yet. I thought at some point, I'm like, I should just get like an idea ahead of time so we could preview and be like, next week you can hear blah, blah, blah. But not yet.
It's like the soap opera, voice.
Yes.
Like, next week on Days of Our Lives.
I was about to
Like signs through the hourglass.
I was thinking I was about to sing the what's the Twilight Zone? Do 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 do. But yeah, maybe in the future we'll be that prepared.
One of these days. I picked this one yesterday, so
there you go. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.